just want you all, friends, to take a notice of the topic, the part forgiveness, and the second part, a release from the past. So let's go more deeper in the topic. I like to begin with the words of our beloved Swamiji, Swami Kriyanand, the founder of Ananda Sangh and a direct disciple of Swami Yoganand. We all owe our presence in Ananda because Swamiji created Ananda Sangh and inspired us to be on this path of a gratitude to him. Swami Kriyananji said, on forgiveness, if you are able to forgive someone for whom you have held a grudge, you will catch a glimpse of what it means to be inwardly free. The purpose of forgiveness is not to forgive that person, but the bigger and the greater purpose is to become inwardly free. A bit of our energy which is locked up in that hurt, in that pain of the tough, flawed energy that we experienced with a person or circumstance. When we forgive, we release that locked up, flawed energy for ourselves. We free that energy which is locked up within ourselves. The greater purpose of forgiveness is for ourselves, not for the benefit of the other person so much, but for the benefit of our own. Making our energy, which is, let's say, this much, a smaller circle, when we forgive, the entire negative energy becomes a bigger whole, a bigger round, a bigger circle. That is the bottom line of forgiveness. When we consider forgiveness, the power it has as a vehicle to free us is profound. Forgiveness is an expression or behavior, one of that which is of the soul and not ego. The forgiveness comes to us from the soul, not from the ego. Ego doesn't allow us to forgive. Ego is of that position always to defend itself, qualify itself, that person needs to forgive me first, then I will forgive. Or why should I forgive whom when I am right? Ego keeps creating blocks and blocks, not permitting us to forgive and to stay in that negative energy. It is the soul energy within us, the spark of the soul, which prompts us, forgive and make your energy whole. Forgive for yourself, not for that person. That is the orientation around which ego revolves, but we can enter into the soul nature of our being and express forgiveness. It's for us to stay with the ego nature and say, why should I forgive? He behaved badly. Or we can choose that I'm going to operate with the soul nature within myself. I have both. I have ego, I have soul. Choice is mine. I have the free will. I can choose and say, no, I want to live by the soul nature and be more positive, and I want to forgive. The choice is with us. I am just bringing out within ourselves to each of our friends here that it is our choice. what we want to do and whose benefit it is. Forgiveness is like a dam being released, water, releasing the water behind it, energy behind it is able to flow and express itself as love, as kindness, and surrender itself. When we forgive, we break that dam which was so far blocking the flow of the energy behind it to flow, because the dam was there, the ego was there, which was not allowing the energy to flow. So when we forgive, we break that dam, we allow the energy to flow. Consequence of that is that we ourselves feel happy, we in ourselves feel inwardly free, we feel peace in our heart. I just want to remind you again and again, friends, we forgive for our own peace. We forgive to raise the bar of our own consciousness. We forgive primarily for our own benefit. Forget that concept that I am being a great person by letting that person go for his bad action. No, that's a myth. Now, Swami Yogananji has shared a very interesting story on forgiveness, which explains this point of forgiveness, that why should we forgive very, very well. Swami Yogananji had given a very powerful session on forgiveness in Mount Washington. Today, when we were starting this session, friends, and we were meditating, I was praying to Swami Yogananji, look, you gave such a powerful session on forgiveness in Mount Washington. Today, we have so many devotees here today in the class, I think 35 or whatever number. Please, you come and give your energy, your inspiration, so that they receive the value of forgiveness. I'm sharing the words of Swami Yogananji, and just visualize that his energy is flowing in the class. So Swami Yogananji shared a story that he gave a very powerful session on forgiveness. Swami Yogananji had spoken in that talk about forgiveness and loving one's enemies. What a topic! Loving one's enemies. This is the story about a businessman and who attended that session of Swami Yoganand. And this man had had a very sour, bitter experience in his business life. An associate of him in the business maligned him, caused him demise of his entire company. It was gone. His business and everything that he had. And he found that he had lost everything through that man. So imagine, visualize the bitterness, the pain, the grief in that person's heart. And he came to the session of forgiveness of Swami Yoganand. So this man heard Swami Yoganand that no matter what they have done, how important it is to practice forgiveness. He kept instilling in the class, no matter how big is the pain, but the forgiveness is far more bigger than the pain. And he was so influenced, that thing just touched the core of his life, of his soul, and he decided to practice what Swami Yoganandji taught in that session. Businessman started to think about that person who had completely finished his life in positive terms. A man who finished his business, the businessman tried to practice what Yoganandji taught in that session, to think of that man, that cruel man, in positive terms. He continuously sent him love. He started to send him positive energy. He started to send him positive thoughts of kindness and forgiveness. Sending energy, positive energy of love, of kindness, of forgiveness. He started practicing that. The energy is flowing to that person. Visualize that man is sitting there who demolished the business, and the energy now is flowing to him. A couple of weeks went by, and then this man who was sending the positive energy found himself in an elevator with the same man who had demolished his business. Standing next to him, and this man who had impacted his family and his entire business. But the man who wanted to bring about a change, he held on to the Swami Yogananda's guidance and in the lift continued to send him love, kindness and forgiveness. When they reached the ground floor, the man who was hurt, he said to the man who had hurt him, caused him all the pain, he said, "Sir, I have my car outside. Where are you going? Can I give you a lift? Can I drive you?" He was overcoming his ego. He was acting with his soul nature and reaching out to the soul of that person that, "Can I drop you somewhere?" Some weeks later, the man came to his house, the same man who had demolished him. And he said to him, "Sir, I must be honest with you." And then he explained to him bit by bit how he had worked to demolish his life, his family, and his business. He asked him and he sought for his forgiveness. And he also said to this person that now I will go to the houses of each of the others to whom I have given the same experience, and I will ask for their forgiveness. All those people who have been treated by me like this, I will go to individual people's house. Friends, mark the power of forgiveness, who brought that person to the person whom he had hurt, and how his energy from being vindictive and negative, he changed it into a positive energy. Look at the power of forgiveness. Until this man had sent him all those prayers and positive energy, nothing happened. When he sent the energy, the things started moving. Energy is powerful. Energy is not a dead substance sitting there. It moves. It is intelligent. It goes to the person where it is directed to go. So, forgiveness is very important. Maybe for something we may feel that, oh, it was such a time ago, long time ago in the past. Now I cannot reform things. No, forgiveness works for today, for the present. It works for the past. It works on the energy. Energy is not new or old. Energy is forever moving. Energy moves when we make it move. So, every time we open the door, every time we become expressions of that healing energy, the resolution of the healing happens. It is a proven fact. Try it out. I have tried it. I'm a small entity. I have tried it in a small manner. And it has worked. It has worked to the extent that it cleansed my heart, which it harbored with pain and suffering from some flawed energy that was created. At least we cleanse our heart. Swami Kriyanandaji has shared a beautiful dream that he had. In that dream, Swami Kriyanandaji saw a very loyal or a very dear long-time friend had betrayed him in the dream. In the dream, Swami Kriyananda found it absolutely very difficult to accept that that person had betrayed him. And in the dream, Swami Kriyanandaji was thinking that what if I persist in the same manner the way my friend has behaved? What if I resent? What if I think badly of the individual? He is visualizing in his dream. I will come back in a future incarnation. And what if the tables are turned, and in reaction, I become that person who has betrayed me now? So, what will happen? One incarnation, the friend betrayed. The second one, Swami Kriyananji betrayed. Third incarnation, the friend betrayed. And he saw the cycle continued for years and years. And in the dream itself, the cycle continued for about 600 years. So he saw if the cycle continues, goes on for many incarnations, this flipping back and forth, each one of us playing the other part, he didn't want it to continue. To stop, and he wanted to stop this whole game and be friends with that man again. So, in that moment in the dream, when he's visualizing the effect of not forgiving in the dream itself, with all his will, with all his might, Swami Kriyananji yelled out in the dream, I forgive you. He knew the consequence if he doesn't forgive. So he said, I forgive you. In that very instant, when with a true heart he said, I forgive you, he experienced an inward freedom. He experienced an inward release from that suffering or that person's betrayal. See the biggest point? When we forgive, first of all, we become inwardly free. Our heart is cleansed. We are done with that situation. Now, the important point here comes is that whatever karma was there, whatever actions were there on the part of Swami Kriyananji to cause this resolution, healing had taken place. Swami Kriyananji's heart, his energy had healed because he had forgiven that person. But he goes on to say, what about the other person? What is happening there? He says, it still might be that the other person needs to work at their end. And it's their issue to resolve their act and such things. So we don't know the person who is not forgiving what is happening to his energy, but he said that I purified, I cleansed my heart, and I purified my energy. That's what happened by forgiveness. But he had done his part. He had broken that cycle of the reincarnation of not if he had not forgiven, about which he was concerned. And that is the very importance of true forgiveness. We free ourselves when we forgive, and it is for ourselves. If we can step out of the ego, if we can relate soul to soul, understand where actually it will take us, that anger and that flawed energy, and why we can set a new course under the direction of healing. The forgiveness teaches us and gives us a new direction, a new release of new happy energy. There's an interesting point to watch about the people who are about to leave their body. Swami Yoganand brought out this point. He said, I have witnessed many people who are grasping with the situations that demand forgiveness, and sometimes they're able to do it and sometimes not. There's a story of Ananda village itself. A dear friend, towards the end of life, a few weeks left, decided to look at the things that needed to be resolved. There were things that needed to be completed, unfinished, flawed energies lying in the life of that person, and the person was in the final exam of the life. The person thought who were those friends, made a list, and started inviting the presence, those people where the flawed energy still existed, to visit the person in the hospital. Sort them out via phone calls, talk to them, situations where forgiveness was called for or a completion of some regard was needed. Hospital room was filled with the people. It was a very powerful to watch her going down the list, making corrections with all the people in the appropriate manner that needed a completion of that flawed energy. It will all happen to us. It may not happen to us now, but it will happen before we are kind of coming to the end of the life. And we may think, okay, I'm very young. I am just in my 20s. I'm just in my 30s. I'm just in my 40s. I have 50 years ahead. Friends, wiser are the ones who take care of the things which need to be done when there's youthful and a vibrant energy with them. Do it now. Don't wait. It was not easy because this lady who was in the final exam of her life, she sensed its significance and importance, and she went after it, inviting those people. Swami Kriyanand talks about it in the end of her life, in the final exam that I'm talking, that each one of us faces that, because the whole review of the life comes and we see in that review of the life where the flawed energy is still existing, where the things have been sorted, and where the flawed energy exists. When we reincarnate with that flawed energy, and we still need to correct it. It needs to be corrected. That's the law of karma. And remember, the law of karma says that wherever the flawed energy happened, it happened on the earth. So when we come back and reincarnate on the earth, we can correct that flawed energy on earth itself. We can't do it in the astral world. It doesn't happen there because we create it here on the earth. There are things that we want to look at, and consciously we want to resolve those things. Not only relevant towards the end of our lives, but we should look at those things now on day-to-day basis. Relationships with so many people, in our interactions and our reacting, in our kind of being with them, sometimes, despite of our best efforts, some glitches in the relationships happen, and those glitches remain as unresolved emotion. Our ego interferes, and we are in a situation that we really didn't want to be, because we're still carrying that burden of the glitched energy. We have reacted, accused, we have done something that necessitates either us forgiving others, or if they are open to forgiving us. So that thing is existing. Either I need to forgive, or Paul needs to forgive me. Dheeraj needs to forgive me. That energy is just there. Energy doesn't die. It transforms, it transmutes. Our job is to transmute that energy, change that energy. This guidance of looking at our lives and seeing where, if we can make the change and we can elevate that flawed energy that is happening between us and the other person, wherein we can let go and where we can forgive, is very, very important. Introspection, where and how I can elevate that flawed energy. And the task is with me. The task is not with Sandhya. Task is my life. And I need to correct it. So do not wait that the other person will come back and correct that energy. We need to correct that energy ourselves. There's a story of a friend who passed away, shared a difficult circumstance in her life, particularly involving a family. And she was hoping for forgiveness. The forgiveness did not happen. The friend was very, very sad that the forgiveness was not coming forth. She felt immense pain and felt inwardly bound to that situation, to that circumstance, to that experience, because though she had forgiven, but the other person was not forgiven, and she didn't know what to do. She was approaching, I don't know, the midlife or the end of the life, whatever. The time had elapsed, and she was in great pain because the other person was not forgiving her. So she prayed very intensively to Swami Paramhans Yogananji, and then the answer came to her. And look at the beautiful answer. I understand. I had to forgive them for not being able to forgive me. Master said, you have forgiven. That person is not forgiving you. So the message to us is that we have to forgive those people. We again have to forgive those people for not forgiving us. Don't leave the situation like this. What am I to do? I'm so sad, the other person is not forgiving me. In your mind, in your heart, in your soul, forgive that person for not forgiving you. Maybe the elevation of the consciousness is not high enough to forgive you. So you understand, all of us are evolving. In some aspect, I'm evolving, some aspect, Ratna is evolving, some aspect, Amit is evolving. Different people are in different levels of consciousness. So if the forgiveness is not coming, even then forgive them for not forgiving you. When she was able to do that, to forgive that person for not forgiving her, she felt tremendous energy around her and tremendous freedom. She felt everything in life was cleared and she could go on with life. This is a very deep level of forgiveness. Do we all feel so? Do we agree with this, friends? What's your thought? Just give me a thumbs up on that. What do you think? Is correct? We can't go force a person that come and forgive me. No, but we still forgive that person. It's fine. All of us carry pain. When I meet with my friends, I meet with my students. I mean, more than half the classes in my sessions that I take are filled with the people who have some flawed pain, suffering, energy, and are still carrying it. When you sit down, have deeper conversations about life, those will come up. And that's what exactly Swami Yogananji is saying, that to release that energy from your side with the heart, release them, release that energy. And release the other person also for not forgiving you. Make yourself complete. Make yourself free. Make yourself elevate your flawed energy. Lastly, there's a very important point and thing about, see, we keep talking about forgiving others. But with the others, we also, ourselves are also there. We are so harsh on ourselves. When we make mistakes, how many times we keep analyzing and saying to ourselves, oh, I shouldn't have done it. Oh, I shouldn't have done it. How stupid I was. How could I do it? What does Yogananji says on that? He says, lastly, one more important thing is importance of forgiving ourselves. We are human. If we want to make mistakes, we won't be here. We will be living in the astral world with the gurus. So he says, forgive yourself also when you make mistake. He says, in the final exam, you understand that towards the end of the life, it is very difficult to forgive ourselves and move on because it is so close to us. We keep them in our heart in this incarnation for months, years, and many incarnations ahead. We need to look at those things and consciously, willfully let them go. Very important point, friends. If we are harsh on ourselves, and if we don't forgive ourselves, and throughout the life we keep on pondering and checking out and introspecting, what mistakes did I make? What mistakes did I make? Array, we have done many good things also. So Yogananji is saying, focus on the good part of your life. You're sitting in the session today. That's a good part of your life. You're earning good karma. Yogananji is here. It is his words. It is his wisdom that is being shared. So he says, focus on the good parts of your life. If you will keep on getting upset with yourself and about the wrong things that you have done, what happens towards the end of life? We are still focusing on the wrong things. We are still kind of banishing and bambooing ourselves for the wrong things that we have done. When we reincarnate because of our prime force was feeling guilty about our mistakes. So give a pat to your back for the good things that you have done, so that you focus on the good things and you're born with the good things. It's up to us. We all are sitting here in the class with a mixed bag. What do I choose to focus on? It's my choice. I have the free will. And I am the part of the Kriya Yoga sessions where somewhere we have some spiritual elevation. So friends, focus on the good of your life. Focus on the good of the others. Focus on the good things that are happening around us. We keep them in our hearts in this incarnation for months, years, and incarnations. We need to look at those things and consciously, willfully let them go, which are troubling us. Swami Kiranand said, if we cannot forgive ourselves, give them to God, cast them in the higher realm, let them go, don't revisit. Don't revisit your mistakes. Don't go on discussing. I mean, students come to me, 50% of them, they're discussing with me. They will go to Sandhyaji's session. They will discuss with her, or somebody else is taking a session. They will go and discuss. How many times are you going to discuss it? How many times are you going to give more and more and more energy to that one thing only? You've done many goods also. Focus on those. Very important point. That's why God looks at us. We are children of God. God forgives us. We should forgive ourselves and move on inwardly, being free. So, there's a very beautiful prayer for forgiveness, which I often say to myself. And I'm going to say it slowly if you want to write it, or somewhere it will be shared. Today, we forgive all those who have offended us. Today, let's just close our eyes and say this affirmation. Today, we forgive all who have ever offended us. I send love to all thirsty souls. I send love both to those who love me and to those who do not love me. I send love to both, to those who love me and to those who do not love me. A very powerful affirmation. Whenever you remember, whenever you are in the flawed energy, start saying this affirmation, start sending love, start sending positive energy. I'm going to close the session now, friends. And remember, forgiveness is to bring inner freedom to ourselves. Forgiveness is to free ourselves. With that, so now we come to the end of the session. Sandhyaji, what would you like to do? The session is in your hands now.
Thank you so much, Vibhaji. That's such a powerful talk. I mean, like reminding us the power of forgiveness and purifying our hearts and reclaiming our freedom. So it's very, very beautiful sharing. Thank you so much. So we will do the aarti and then end with healing prayers.
Yeah.
Just give us a second. I'll just